Hi everybody, I'm Jack the Rolling Raconteur. I hope you're having a great week. This is going to be the BookTube Backstage Tag created by Rainier at Rainierbooks, and he was kind enough to tag me in this last week. And I know it's not a Tuesday, and it's been a busy week, so I'm just getting to it now. Everybody's already done this, and they were wonderful to watch. I hope I can maybe contribute a couple of quick opinions. Prompt one, what camera do you use for your videos? Just my iPhone. I think it's an iPhone 6. It's about a meter away from me right now. I'm not sure which year it is, though. Prompt 2, speaking about film and being your own director, do you have a favorite film director? I love watching films or movies, whatever you want to call them. I have, since I was in high school, I really started to get into films and just watch and watch and watch. There are times in my life where I actually probably watch more films per week than books that I read. But that ratio usually stays fairly closely balanced. So a couple of quick directors I love. Howard Hawks. Great director, great energy in his films. He one of his innovations was getting the in order to make a longer script and compress it, he would have a character begin the next line of dialogue while a previous character was finishing his or her line, and so the dialogue would overlap and it would compress all the screen time, but it creates this sense of just liveliness to the film where it's just moving at a high pace, and just across all sorts of genres. Great director. I also like Robert Altman has a handful of films that I just absolutely adore and love. Nashville, MASH, McCabe and Mrs. Miller, California Split, even The Long Goodbye, and they're, he uses some of those Hawks type of energy, but has a different worldview that he's projecting on the films. So I love both of those. There's so many though. Jean-Pierre Melville, I love crime novels, and so I also love film noir. And Jean-Pierre Melville sort of finished film noir in France, if you ask me, and then had some films in color that were really strange and interesting. Kurosawa, not just his samurai films, but his other films too, like High and Low or Drunken Angel. Love those. And then more recently, folks like Jordan Peele is really interesting. What's his name? Ryan Johnson, Knives Out, great movie. So lots of fun. Love so many film directors. Prompt 3, what microphone do you use? Oh, Wes Anderson. I also really enjoy Wes Anderson's films. My wife and I both do. And actually, our older daughter has enjoyed a couple. Fantastic Mr. Fox. Prompt 3, what microphone do you use and what program do you use to edit your videos? I just use the microphone on my iPhone and try to speak loudly enough. I learned from Kelly's video, books I'm not reading, that you apparently can adjust the volume of the audio in iMovie, which I had no idea. I've only ever used iMovie to combine a couple of quick clips I've done, where if I'm out hiking and I get a couple of different shots at different points and then I put them all together on one video to upload. That's the extent of using iMovie. That's what I use to edit. Prompt 4, do you remember the first record you bought or received as a gift? It's a cassette tape, if you can recall those. It's a cassette tape, and it was 20 Good Vibrations, the greatest hits of the Beach Boys. And I still know all those songs by heart. And I actually really enjoy the Beach Boys albums as well. There's a whole bunch of interesting music they did that wasn't just surfer and car songs, but really interesting just albums that I love. I've talked with Una over at the Codex Cantina, and know everyone who reads it must converse. We've talked about music I love to listen to, but that cassette tape was the first one I ever bought. Prompt 5, how do you prepare your videos? Talking points, a detailed script, or just talking? Generally, so if it's a tag like this, I have a little notebook where I write the questions down, and usually I know what my answers are, so that I can get, if I'm going to show any books, I have them in a stack here so that I can hold them up and show them. Or if it's one where I'm going to discuss a book, and I try to always sort of have if you enjoyed this, try these books, or if you've read any of these, you might like this book, that sort of recommended if you like section at the end of those discussion videos I do. I will set those up, so I have those available. If for Here Lies Herodotus and Augustus Long, I did write out more extensive notes. Sometimes if I'm gonna usually when I do a discussion, I'll read a passage from the book, so I'll mark that. I kind of know what passage I want to read that I think is a good sample of what the book is going to have. So yeah, that's about the extent of my preparation. But I think about books as I read them, and when I go out running, not hiking because I'm usually with my kids, but if I go out running, I'll think through kind of what I've been reading and how I'm enjoying it, or while I'm driving. Same thing. Prompt 6, TV shows have become the thing of our time. Game of Thrones, solid. Stranger Things, excellent. Netflix, HBO, and Amazon. What are your favorite TV shows? My kids are really into Bluey, which if you've never seen is a fantastic children's show. I believe it's on Disney+. I really, really enjoy Coupling, which was a British sitcom that does something that books do incredibly well with that like unreliable narrator or showing like one perspective and then another. Coupling, I think in every season has an episode where you see one side of the story and then you get the entire story from another character's point of view, and the juxtaposition is often very, very funny. And the writing is solid, like both the male and female characters are very, very funny, and they're written to be very funny, which doesn't always happen in comedies. So I love that series. Mad Men would be my third one. That great series. Prompt 7, what kind of BookTube videos do you prefer to watch and why? Reviews, wrap-ups, vlogs, book hauls, or tag videos? I like the tag videos, because you just kind of like learn what people's opinions are, where they're coming from. I always think that's really fun. I like the discussion videos around books that I've heard of or that I've read, and kind of to hear what other people think about them. Sometimes if I'm reading something before I even record something, I'll go and see if anybody else has posted, a video about that book or that play or whatever, to get that person's take as well as I'm kind of forming my own thoughts. Generally not while I'm reading. I kind of like to form my thoughts and then compare that with someone else's thoughts. But those are ones I really enjoy. I don't watch a huge number of book hauls, and Brian at Bookish kind of explained, I think, the rationale I have as well, which is I'm usually really interested in what somebody thinks of a work, not necessarily that someone obtained it and what it looks like. So shelf tours are more interesting because usually someone has read at least some of those books and has idea, even if it's just one sentence around, here's what this is like, I really enjoyed it, here's why. Great. That's I love the insight about different works and different books. So those are usually what I'm interested in. Wrap-ups, of course, do that as well, where people kind of like will list several. Prompt 8. Watching TV was probably a part of all our childhoods. These years it has become less popular. What kind of a media user are you? I read the news online. And I usually watch a film at least once a week. Sometimes I break it up into parts. I don't watch a huge amount of television. My wife and I usually will have like one show during a season that we're following. And so we'll watch, maybe 1 or 2 nights a week we'll sit down together and watch an episode of whatever that show is. Right now it's Lupin. Very, very fun. Great. If you have Netflix, I think it's on Netflix, great adaptation of the Maurice Leblanc character and set in modern day France. We've really enjoyed that. But so I don't watch a huge amount of television. I do love films, so I'll sit and watch a film, and I read extensively. In terms of media, I don't really play video games, but I do play a lot of board games, and I don't even play board games online. Like I play actual physical board games, which has been harder over the past year. But my older daughter has learned to play some games with me. Like she knows what victory points are. And my wife and I will play, and sometimes my brother who lives out of town will set up a camera so that we can set up the same game and play against each other. But yeah, so different media that way. But I think prompt 9 was tag up to 8 people. I legitimately don't know if there's anybody, because Ryan tagged me, which was very kind. I hope to repay the favor at some point this year with a tag I'll create. But I think over the past week and a half, almost everyone, like I said, that I watch has done this tag. So if you have not, and I somehow, that slipped through the gap in my viewing, please, I encourage you to do this. It's very quick, very fun. So have a great weekend, everybody. Stay safe. Thanks.